Last round of the tournament. If I win this game, I win the tournament with 5 points out of 5. And I'm also playing as white. So e4, and my opponent replied with e5. At this point I played knight on f3 as always. I mean, at that time I used to play the Italian game, now I play the Ruy Lopez. Okay, so knight on c6 and bishop on c4, the Italian game. Now he played knight on f6. And I can finally play my beautiful and tricky move knight on g5, the Italian attack. If you remember, I already played this move in the third game and my opponent replied with d5. I decided to take and then he took, and that's the Frey lever. You just take, king there, queen check, in this way, knight on c3, and as you can see, black is in a lot of doubles, but instead of going for this, which is considered to be wrong for black, you can actually play another thing. At this point, you can play the move b5, which my opponent played. My opponent played b5. Now, this looks like you're losing a pawn and you're going to lose the knight, although it's not that simple, because if I take, there is the move queen take, and you might say, so what, you can just take the knight. Yes, that's true, but after the queen take, and let's say at this point I castle, I'm just up a pawn, but this position is already crashing for my opponent. I mean, Stockfish is saying that this is equal, and that's the main line. Is absolutely incredibly difficult to defend, so obviously it's going to be a problem. Yeah, long castle, that's the position. I mean, it's not equal. It's not equal. It's equal if you defend like Stockfish, and white loses. Don't worry. So instead of playing this, the main line is actually not taking the pawn, not playing bishop on d3, because the bishop will be useless. You need to move this pawn too, and it's not even playing bishop on e2. If you play bishop on e2, there is the move knight on d4, and you don't want to get the bishop, so what you want to do is playing the move bishop on f1. That's actually theory, and I knew that. At this point I played bishop on f1, and I saw that my opponent was, I mean, not shocked, but I mean, I saw that he wasn't really ready to go for this. And he actually didn't really know this line, but if you play b5, you had to know at least the main line and what to do after that, because at this point, he just decided to take the pawn. And you know what is the best thing? Since the knight took the pawn, and there isn't a queen there, you can take the pawn now, which I played. So what happened in this last move was that he played b5, I didn't take the pawn, bishop back, he took the pawn, and I decided to take the pawn now, and these are all the best moves. Chess is beautiful. And at this point he played bishop on d7. You might say, well, what about the knight? The knight is hanging, the knight is hanging, but if you do that, your knight is also hanging as well as your rook, which is not so fair, you know? So he decided to defend the knight. Apparently the best move is playing bishop on b7. If you play bishop on d7, it's already lost. But it's not so simple to see why, at least for me. It's lost because you can play knight take on f7, a sort of right lever. And after you take, I have the move queen on f3. So the knight is hanging. And if you play king on e6, which is the best move, you have c4. So yeah, it's basically if they lever, but it's not like super easy to say, okay, this position is winning for white, because you can play knight on e7, and now what? Yeah, that is d4. It's different, it's better than the typical Frey lever, I guess, because there are a lot of pieces around the king, so he cannot move too well. Although, I mean, if you don't know this line, you're not going to play knight take on f7. To be fair, I didn't even think about that move, and yeah, even if I knew that, it's not easy. You need to know plans, at least. So at this point, I decided to play d3. The point of d3 is that my knight is no more hanging, and, you know, I can develop the bishop eventually in the future. Now he played bishop on e7, which is inaccurate because again I can play the move knight take on f7. At this point, probably, if I knew that this was a move, I would have played it, because now it's even more different. Now the king is like really blocked at this point, so yeah, that will make a lot of sense. But yeah, I still didn't see that. And I decided to play the move queen on h5, which is a mistake. Which is a mistake because after g6, which I saw, I thought that after I play queen on h6 I have something, but as soon as I play this move, I saw that he can play bishop on f8, and I thought it was a draw. Now, as you can see from the evil bar, that's not the only move. Well, first of all, what I missed, because this move loses on the spot. I missed knight on d4. What is the point? If I move the bishop, I guess my queen is grabbed. I guess that's the point. What is the point then? Oh, okay, that's not the point. Because you can take. Okay, your queen is hanging. Let's say knight take. I take. Oh, okay, because there is the knight hanging. Oh, I don't even know why. There is knight take on c2. I move, he takes. Then I play this. Defense. The knight is hanging. Well, it's not that simple, isn't it? King d1. Knight takes on a1. Okay, queen g7. Rook f8. And I take the knight. Or there is the discovery. This discovery is even better. Oh yeah, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm really bad. I didn't even see this move. To be fair, that's the last game. I just cannot think. But yeah, what I missed, except for this move, is like, if you play bishop on f8, I have to go back h6. But this doesn't lose apparently. Okay, because there is queen on c4. So yeah, I kind of missed everything. I missed also the fact that this move doesn't draw the game. But yeah, my opponent didn't play it. And he told me that he didn't want to play this move because he thought it was a draw. I mean, yeah, we both, you know, is the last game. Is the last game. And he played knight on f6 because he wanted to play to win. Although you have to understand something, that if you are worse, or if you have to play a move that makes you considerably worse, it's not clever to play it because you want to win, because you are just going to lose, usually, because it's a classical game, you know. I play bad, but it's hard that I throw the game this bad as this one, at least. So I played queen on g7, which makes sense, and now, I mean, your position is terrible. You cannot play rook on g8, for example, because it's mate, so you have to play rook on f8. And at this point I played a really good move, to be fair, which is bishop on c4. What is the point? I'm bringing the bishop back in order to attack this pawn, which is incredibly weak. And you cannot really allow me to take it, because let's say you do nothing, that's just mate. Take. Rook take, queen take is mate. So, you had to do something about that, and he decided to play bishop on e6. At this point, I decided to take it with the bishop, because if you take with the pawn, there is a fork. You know, which is pretty good. And he played knight on d4. Now, this guy is going to be super tricky. You know that his position is lost. So he's going to play a tricky move, because, you know, there is always the chance that I lose. Although, now I'm just up a piece. You cannot castle. Your position is absolutely terrible. So I played bishop take on f7. What is the point? The point is that, I mean, I just saved the piece. And I can do whatever I want after that. King on d7. And now I played a great move, in my opinion. Not thinking about this. And I saw bishop on bit d2. But I thought that he had something at that point. Yeah, if I play bishop on bit 3, I open a lot of stuff. I didn't want to allow that. So I just decided to castle, which is just a great move. Why? Because now this is not as strong as before. neither these. If you take the pawn on c2, I have the move bishop on e6, which you saw, and at this point you had to move the king somewhere, and this looks absolutely terrible. Okay, you can win the rook, but after that I develop every piece and you're going to get destroyed pretty soon. Also remember that I was up a piece. Now, what? He has an exchange, I have a bishop and a pawn, so I'm down 1 point of material, but this knight is lost, first of all. And second, I mean, I win. As simple as that. It's plus 9.5. But instead of doing this, at this point my opponent decided to play knight on g4. What is the point? Again, a lot of pressure there. So I had to do something about that. And it says that I can take on h7, but I decided to play it safely and play h3. What is the point? Well, your knight is under attack, and if you suck, that doesn't make any sense. If you give me a check, I just move. You can take, I take, and you give a check. I saw that, but you just trade pieces, so it's not super great for you. And I decided to take the pawn, which is inaccurate, because now bishop take on g5. Okay, so take, queen take, I take the knight, where I give a check. d5, this, oh, d5 because it's check with queen. Okay, d5, and then the king moves. He's saying queen on e7. Well, queen on e7, come on. You just take, and yeah, no. Ah. It's not that simple. It is not that simple. Okay, you see, you can always lose. You can always lose, but this pattern actually was kind of a thing in the game. Not get scared, but so we play this. I decided to take the pawn, and he played this. At this point, I was going to move the pawn. I was going to move this pawn to take, but luckily I saw before touching it that if you give me a check, you know, his mate, it just straight up checkmate. That's the point. So he's a tricky guy, for sure. So instead of doing that, I play the best move. Knight on e4. What is the point? Now, your knight is hanging. I still cannot take for the same thing. Although, your bishop is hanging too. Second, your knight is actually hanging this way. So, yeah, you had to move the knight, you had to do something. He decided to move the bishop, but he missed the fact that the knight was hanging with check, which is incredible. At this point, you have to move the king. I'm up 10 points of material. I'm up 4 pawns and 2 minor pieces. Although, you can still manage to lose this position somehow, unless you find this move that I knew it wasn't the best, but practically speaking, it gives me the best chance of all the moves. Bishop on g5, what is the point? You cannot take the bishop, your queen is pinned, you had to take, and after that queen take, against the stuff, the queen is pinned, you had to trade. Or if you don't, let's say you play this move, look on h7, I can take your queen, and I mean, I still up 10 points of material in this endgame, which I mean, I guess is winning. Or I can play the best move once again, because if you have a great move, look for another one. Queen on g8, check. King move. Take the rook. Threatening this. Trade everything. Do whatever you want and win. My opponent resigned at this point, and I won the tournament with 5 points out of 5. So what can I say, guys? First of all, I gained something like 80 points, 80 elo points. After this tournament, I was rated something like 1670, something like that. 70, close to 80 probably. So yeah, that's pretty good. I'm getting a lot of elo points. Although in this tournament, I understood one thing, that I should try to play something different from the Italian game, because this line I mean, it's a line that I don't love, and I don't love playing the Gioco Pianissimo, so for this reason I am playing the Ruy Lopez, which I think is an incredible opening. I understood that I should think even more, because I'm still not playing pretty well, I mean, to be fair, and I should really study more theory, that's quite important, so I still have a lot of things where I need to get better, but at least I'm definitely getting better, so I'm pretty happy. And that's it for today, guys, and see you with the next video.